today's Project Diary, I will give you examples of why you shouldn't grow apples from seed.
Hi guys and welcome to Project Diaries. Today's video I want to answer a question that so many people are asking me this year already, and that's how to grow apples from seed. Now in my advice I wouldn't actually do this. Now I'm going to explain why. So here's an apple, and obviously you just cut it down the middle. Don't cut it this way, cut it down the middle. There's been a lot of gardeners on the internet that tell you how to do this wrong. But you just cut it down the center, extract the seed, and then just grow it how you normally would. But that's not the problem. The problem is that this apple will produce hybrid seeds. So the seed will be 50% of this apple and 50% of something else that it was pollinated with, be it another apple tree, or it could be anything. You never really know what it's been cross-pollinated with. So only 50% of the DNA from this apple will be in the seed. So once you've planted the seed, growed the seed, and then it's, you've waited 5 years for it to fruit, or plus 5 years, you're not guaranteed that it's going to taste exactly the same as this apple. Now it's not just the same with apples, you can do the same with cherries, plums, pears, grapes especially. I mean, there's just, people desperate to get that ultimate grape taste, but it's really hard to get. So the next best thing to do is from grafting. Now I will show you how that's done in a minute. I was going to wait later on in the year so my trees were really lovely and I could show you the progression, but so many people asking me to do this, I just thought I'd get it out of the way today. So let's go and have a look at my trees that I've grown from a rootstock and see how they've been grafted. So here's an example of my 3 trees. I've got a cherry tree, a pear tree, and a Braeburn apple tree. So if you want to just zoom in. So as you can see, this used to be the rootstock, and this scar here, this is where the rootstock was cut off and the other part of the tree was grafted on. Now this part here is interesting, and I'm going to keep this growing because this is from the original rootstock. So I've got no idea of what kind of tree this was originally, so I'm just going to let this grow out. And it's been known in the past that sometimes this has been an orange tree or a different apple tree or pear tree, so I'm just going to grow that out to see what happens. But I'm just going to give you a bit more information on this and show you a different example.
So if you haven't already seen my how to replant a fruit tree from a rootstock, check out the link on the screen now. That will also explain you don't have to spend a fortune on trees to get a really good result. So this example's got a really large knot on it, so you can't really see it clearly, but I'm going to show you on this example how they grafted it properly. As you can see, there's a 45-degree angle cut, and there's 2 distinctive different tree types here. The base will be your rootstock, and the top part will be the cutting or grafting from your desired apple tree. So let me show you a rough example on how grafting is done.
So for example, let's just say this is a Braeburn apple tree. Now all sort of Golden Delicious, Braeburn, Coxes, any kind of apples, pears, grapes, cherries, plums, any kind of trees like that will all be grafted from the original tree. So they're all cloned from that original one. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. So for example, let's just say this is an apple tree. And what we usually do is you get your clippers and you get the normal stem here.
So I'm just going to cut this one at a 45-degree angle. There are many different ways you can do this and many techniques, but I'm just showing you the quickest one. It does also help to have really sharp tools unlike mine, but I'm just doing this to show you quickly today. So once you scrape away the harder bark area outside, you reveal a really lovely green colour. This is called the cambium layer. This part is essentially the life of the plant, and this is where the plant cell's division and expansion occurs. So if you reveal and merge 2 plant cambium layers, over time this cell expansion will act like a glue and stick them together. So I'm just going to cut the original piece of the tree and then just cut all the way through to a 45-degree angle. This very technique is used all across the world in loads of different orchards and hasn't changed since the Roman times. Then I'll cut exactly the same angle on the piece I want to graft. Now I'm just doing this really crudely today to give you a quick example. But if you're interested in me making a full video on how to graft fruit trees and vines, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below. Once they're done, the pieces are held in place by grafting tape wrapped around them. After that, the cambium layers will take around 6 weeks to merge into one branch. Another technique is called budding. It's roughly the same idea, but instead of using the entire branch, you can just use the smaller younger buds. Simply trim off the new growth. Now my utensils are not sterilised, but it's a really good idea to make sure they're sterilised if you're doing it properly. I'm just doing this really quickly to show you. Then you want to cut in at a really good angle to make sure you cut through the cambium layer. You want to start cutting in a good few centimetres before and after the bud, and cut in from the top and the bottom. Budding is a really simple technique because you can add these to any of the branches that are coming out of the main tree. This bud holds all the DNA for the original apple, so it would be a complete clone. And from this bud will grow a branch, and every apple on that branch will be identical. To complete this grafting, you then just need to cut an identical piece on your main rootstock branch and then just use grafting tape around it again. The tape will stop any rotting or fungus getting into the cuts. And again, this will take around 6 weeks to form into one branch.
So basically, if you're going to do budding, you can have, I think the Guinness Book of Records is something like 260 different apple varieties on one tree, which is absolutely insane. But all you need is one bud like this here. And once you've grafted it on, this could be one variety of apple, this could be another variety of apple, and then once that's done, it will then sort of grow out. This would have been an original bud on the main stem, and then that will grow out and eventually grow apples. As you can see, it's already budding because it's spring. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. Like I say, you can grow apples from seed, there's no problem at all. It's just knowing what they're going to taste like after the 5-6 years later on. So I didn't want you to waste your time and be really disappointed after spending that amount of time growing them. But hopefully you found today's video interesting. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you again next time. Take care. If you'd like to keep up to date on all of my future releases, click the subscribe button here. Here are some links to some of my other videos. And if you tried this or any other project, I'd love to see your progress, so please join my Facebook gardening group where thousands of people are sharing photos and ideas daily. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.